resistance when we first went. Everything we were told from the beginning was a lie about why we were there. We're being told that weapons of mass destruction. Intel says you can take off your chemical equipment, and granted, I mean, we were very happy to do so because this was extremely hot to wear this on top of all your gear, and it was very cumbersome and uncomfortable. But here we are, about to enter the lion's den of Baghdad, and they say you can take it off. I mean, they knew there was no WMDs, and the fact is, it was getting too hot, and they were starting to have some real problems with heat casualties. Put away your equipment; everything's okay. It wasn't until I got back and I started to do my own research, and I realized, you want to talk about WMDs, it was the damn munitions we were using. My battalion was using depleted uranium. I had depleted uranium rounds on my truck. And this stuff, it's a highly effective anti-armor weapon. It will penetrate anything. It's also highly toxic and it's highly radioactive. It's also completely useless in Iraq because Iraq has no armor. Iraq does not have tanks. And yet we are dumping this munition into their country as we speak, 4 years into this occupation. And this stuff is poisoning not only Iraq. When it hits its target, these particles instantly vaporize and go up into the atmosphere. They've found depleted uranium particles on the skin of spacecraft. I mean, this is poisoning the globe. We do not have to use this material. You can use tungsten. It also penetrates armor. But tungsten is very expensive, and depleted uranium is free. It's a byproduct of nuclear waste. And we are using Iraq as a dumping ground to get rid of our nuclear waste. We're supposed to operate under the Geneva Conventions, meaning you can only shoot people under certain conditions. They have to be carrying a weapon or wearing a uniform and be identified as an enemy combatant. Well, at this point, the Army had gone through the day before, and they had said this town was secure. Well, when the Marines came through, we got hit really hard right off the bat. About 18 guys died, and at that point, they just ceased all operations and said, all right, nobody else is going into this city until it's finally secured. At that point, they pulled everyone back. We sat on the outskirts of the city on the other side of the bridge to Nasiriyah, and that whole night our tanks went in, and I listened to them raise this city. Tanks, watched the mortars fly overhead, gunships circling the whole night. What I drove through that next morning was just a mass graveyard. We had to drive over human corpses the whole way through the city just to get out. And because they declared that city weapons free, you do not have to be carrying a weapon to be shot. And so they changed the rules of engagement, and we went in and we shot everything that moved. And it's the same shit that was going on in Vietnam when they declared it, but they just called it a different name. They called it Free Fire Zones.
George Bush! John Howard!
To realize that there was thousands of veterans all across the United States that felt the exact same way I did.
Hundreds of veterans all over the country have realized that this occupation is not benefiting the troops, and certainly not benefiting the people of Iraq, and so we've been organizing.
We have an absolute moral responsibility to speak to the true horrors of this war.